I got angry when Christian punched me on the first boy, and I was like, dude, you can have the guard, we can have the changing of the guard, but the throne will stay with me.
Wow, what a weekend that was. Holy smokes, I'm exhausted, but so glad to be back home, bringing you guys another Triathlon Weekly News Roundup presented by thefeed.com. So I was at the PTO US Open and I met so many of you guys. I felt like a bit of celebrity. It was kind of strange, to be honest, but now it puts on a little bit more pressure as I can picture many of you that I met watching me behind this lens. So I'll do my best and I'm super excited to get stuck in. As always, we're going to go over the weekend's highlights from all the races because there were quite a few other than the PTO US Open, but we'll focus on that race, of course. And then we'll dive into the rest of the news headlines that we've had since last week. So let's get stuck in because I'm so excited to talk about this US Open race. Holy smokes, Jan Frodeno showing why he's called the GOAT again.
He was racing clever and yeah, hats off.
Honestly, this might be a bit of a hot take, but it didn't look like anybody, even Christian with his cramps or Jason West with his mechanical issue, would have gotten near him because, you know, as he crossed that finish line, he still looked like he had a lot in the tank. And I did hear him say that after the race as well.
I was actually leaving some in the tank. I was like, let's see when he comes. I didn't know how much he had on the bike.
So, yeah, I really think it was his day and him just showing the world that he never left his throne. That was remarkable, but I mean, we had all the drama, didn't we, with Christian's cramps, like I said, Magnus pulling out on the run due to stomach issues, Jan's swim skin issues right at the beginning of the bike, and then Trevor Foley being told he'd been lapped out of the race and being forced to stop. So all the headlines coming out of this race, and three interesting bits for me came out of it from Jan Frodeno. So one was that video where he was saying that he never announced anything about his retirement.
I didn't announce anything. Everybody's saying I made this announcement. It's like I've told everybody for months now. It's my last championship season.
Last championship season. Then, I love the part in the interview where he said he played mind games with Christian in that interview leading up.
I was surprised about how unaggressive you were and how much you were waiting and thinking everybody's just going to wait for you, because that is something, you know, for the claims you make. I mean, you kind of want to go out there and grab it by the neck. So I don't think we're going to see that mistake again.
Passive? Is that fair from Ibiza?
Yeah, I guess so. Like early.
I made sure that Christian was inspired to lead the race from the front.
It looks like he was playing a bit of mind games to make Christian push a little bit too hard on that bike, which kind of looks like he does as he got those cramps. And then Jan finally is giving away that bike he rode at the race. All you have to do is donate to this website and you get entered into the draw for his bike. How amazing would that be to own Jan's large bike? I'm definitely going to put a donation in there. I'm not promoting it in any way. I just thought that was super cool that you could own Jan's bike. I wonder how much that thing would be worth. Crazy. All right, so my top performances there for the men's race. Obviously, we're going number one with Jan Frodeno. It was unreal. But number two, and I had this one at number one, and I was debating putting it on there, was Jason West, because, I mean, to have that mechanical issue on the bike and then somehow ride back up and run like we've never seen anybody.
I was like 90 seconds and I was like, all right, let me enjoy this, a few high fives. Next thing's like 60 seconds. I'm like, Jason's here. I didn't even have to ask. I know Jason's coming.
Bet it's the fastest 18 kilometers of any run portion of a triathlon before. Yeah, just absurd. I remember hearing Sam Long in his interview said when he ran by, described Jason as a pro runner.
I mean, when he came by, my thought was like, this dude is like a pro runner. Like, this dude is a pro runner. It's as if he didn't bike and didn't swim. And
you can really see why. That is unreal. And he wanted to go even faster.
Yeah.
Does that give you confidence to now take it one step further?
Yeah, you know, just keep on getting better. Like, it's just a testament to the work we're putting in. I keep getting better, and the fitness is good, and I'm feeling good, and just got to keep chipping away because it's right there.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Then at number 3, I got Mathis Margirier, the dark horse I'd picked for that race. Oh my goodness, that guy is one for the future. What a weapon he is on the bike with the fastest bike split there. His run just wasn't able to hold on, but still remarkable. At number 4, I got Sam Long. And at number 5, I got David McNamee in 7th place with a really quick run as well, and a good day all around for him. Let me know yours down below. And on to the women's. Well, yeah, Taylor Knibb, who most of us, I think, predicted to win that race, did so. And I don't think it was as comfortable as she would have hoped it would be. She did not manage to get away on that bike like we've seen her do before, thanks to a really hard-working pack behind her. I think Lucy Byram steals the show a little bit on this one. The young athlete who almost had the same bike split as Taylor Knibb and rode up and got off the bike in 2nd place and then managed to hold on to that 4th spot during a sprint finish between 4th and 7th place. So hats off to Lucy. That was remarkable. I also thought Paula did a great performance as well, breaking away from that group that she was in to give herself more of a chance on the run, to which she still ran remarkably well. But it was just so fun to watch that race unfold with the different pack dynamics, with a few athletes really making their way through the field on the bike and the run. Yeah, just being there in person on that 7-loop course was really special, and seeing everybody cheer.
Now heads out onto the run right now. Come on, give it up.
And to see so many people giving out lots of splits, having whiteboards, their coaches, their family members, that was amazing. I mean, the support was unreal there at the US Open, and I can't wait to make that video next on how loud and crazy it was at the event. I think Josh Amberger really took it one step a little bit too far. He got a little bit caught in the moment, I think. But yeah, it was great fun being there in person. My top performances for the women then go to Lucy Byram at number 1. Unbelievable. She hadn't actually ran in 3 weeks leading up to the event due to a hip niggle, and then pulled off that performance. Ashley Gentle for me at number 2, just so solid all the way around. Paula Finley gets number 3 for me, and then Taylor Knibb gets number 4. And the reason for this is I think I would have expected a little bit more for her. The swim, she said, didn't quite go as planned. Neither did the bike. She didn't really get away like we've used to seeing her do. But her run is definitely back. She ran phenomenally well. That's a scary prospect for the future. And yeah, excited to see how she does at the Paris Test event coming up. Then number 5, it was Ellie Salthouse, picking up one of her best performances of her life. So great job to the women. That one was so fun to watch the second day after all the excitement of the men's race. And while I was out there, I was racing the age group national championships myself and did a bit of filming with a GoPro the entire time. If you guys are curious, here are my results. Keep in mind, my body battery from Garmin coming into that after the men's race was a 1 out of 100. So I was not ready to race at all, but had such a blast. The course was amazing. It was put on so well. And yeah, I would recommend that to anybody. Now I have the goal of competing for the US after I get my citizenship. I would love to qualify, take it one step further than going to nationals and go to worlds one day. So amazing to be a part of, and stay tuned for that video about my race coming soon. Alright, then the rest of the races from the weekend. There was the 70.3 European Championships where Laura Philipp took the win ahead of Imogen Simmons, who is returning to top shape every single week. She seems to get better, and yeah, I can't wait to see her get back to that top level where she used to be back in 2019. Emma Powell-Brown looked like she was right there for the win for most of the race, but suffered with the humidity badly on the run portion. Somehow she ended up finishing despite apparently fainting and missing the awards ceremony. So looked like a crazy tough race out there. And Peter Hemrich on the men's side, who by the way is one of the most underrated performers in my opinion, now sits at number 13 in the world. He took the win there ahead of Mike Phillips of New Zealand, an Uber biker. Both of those guys will be racing in Singapore at the PTO Asian Open, so keep an eye out for them. Tallinn, by the way, looks like an absolutely amazing city and place to race, so that one's added to my ever-growing bucket list. And from there, it was Challenge London, which hosted its first ever middle distance race since they bought the triathlon from the London Triathlon. Sam Laidlow, who to me it was a little crazy that he chose to do this race over the US Open. Clearly his calf was good enough to be there at the US Open racing, but it makes sense with a lot of his family being there, and the opportunity to race in London is pretty cool. I'll give him that. And he backed it up with a really solid performance and took the win.
Yeah, it's really exciting for the future, and yeah, I really love these challenge races. That's where I think the organisation and just how they treat the pros is really amazing compared to some of the other races. So yeah, thanks for the organisation.
And Fenella Langridge took it on the women's side there, pretty much dominating from start to finish. She also said it was her mum's first time watching her live at a race, so that must have been pretty special. I really hope, as I've said before in a previous hot take, that the triathlon organizations get together and really organize their schedules so we can see a bunch of pros, the top level pros, take on the London course. I think that would be an epic one to watch and broadcast, so fingers crossed. There actually also was the Norseman Triathlon going on as well, the X-Tri World Championship, which had Sebastian Kienle racing his last full distance race in Europe. He managed to finish in second place remarkably, despite that being such a tough course. He was beaten by a Norwegian who he said broke his heart on the last hill. On the women's side, it was Flora College who beat the two Norwegians and broke their hearts for a home country win. Amazing scenes from that beautiful race. De Boer actually released a Norseman 3.0 wetsuit specifically for that event, and man, I'd love to get my hands on that. That looks super warm, super comfy, and I would love it for the cold ocean waters of Washington where I live. Moving on from there was also 70.3 Gdynia that turned into a duathlon thanks to some bad weather going on there. Willem Hirsch took a really underdog win there, probably thanks to the swim being cancelled, as well as Didi Diedrichs took the win for the women. And with that, we're finally on to the headlines of the week, and starting off with another race from the weekend, 70.3 Rwanda. If I'm looking correctly at the statistics, there was only 55 men and 12 women that took place, as well as some other relay teams, which is mind-blowing to me that they can still put on a race with that few participants, and it actually looks like it's already booked to happen again in 2024. So with so many other Ironman races shutting down, I'm not sure how they managed to keep that one operating, but it really does look like a beautiful course, and the people and the crowds looked so fun. So yeah, not really sure how that's possible, but I mean, good for them if they can keep it going. The second big headline, and this one was before the PTO, but I have to cover it for those of you that don't know. Sam Long had his baby, that's why he was able to get out there. Leonardo Franco Long really left it to the last minute to let Sam go to that race, and yeah, huge congratulations to them. And then the third piece of news is that WTCS Sunderland caused a lot of sickness for a lot of its athletes. Jacob Birtwistle was one of those athletes who was very vocal about how sick he was and how he thinks the swim should have been cancelled. He used a little bit stronger words than myself, but a test outside of the area which they swam apparently revealed some really shocking numbers. However, World Triathlon said that they followed all their guidelines to make sure the water was safe to swim in, but they are investigating what caused so much sickness for the athletes. And speaking of, we got the news that the River Seine has some really bad water quality right now, which caused the open water swim competition to get canceled this last weekend. Now, Paris has spent $1.5 billion on getting this ready for the Olympics and for the future to try and get it cleaned up. However, with a lot of rainfall apparently flooding some of the sewers that's flowing into the river, their worst nightmare has come true and the quality is horrendous. So, World Triathlon said that they're confident that it will return to normal and that they will be able to hold their competition. However, their contingency is to make it a duathlon, which would be terrible for certain athletes looking to qualify at that event for the Olympics. Other athletes will probably be pretty glad, but I think most will be upset that they don't get to race that full triathlon at the Paris test event. We'll have to wait and see with bated breath what happens there. And then on to another bit of big news, and that the Kona slots for next year on the men's side are extremely limited. And we all knew this was probably going to happen after the news came out that the men's world championship would be in Nice, that a lot of the athletes who had already qualified for Kona at the time postponed their slots to 2024 so that they could race in Hawaii. But now that means that there are so many fewer spots for the men to go to Kona. And yeah, at some races there's only 15 spots, whereas the women have 60 to qualify for Nice in 2024. So to all of you trying to go to Kona next year, good luck. I know that was one of my goals, but in my age group there's probably no hope for how fit I am right now, so I might have to start the long road to 2026. And finally, last bit of news, looks like Paula's bike is currently stuck in transit on the way to Glasgow, Scotland, where she will be racing on Thursday at the World Time Trial National Championships. So everybody say a quick prayer for Paula. Let's hope her bike gets to her and that she's able to race that race. I know that's a huge goal for her, and I think all of us would love to see how she does there. Alright, then on to a quick hot take, and this one I saw from a lot of comments on one of PTO's pictures of one of the backpacks that was running in the men's race, and that was to show more footage of the back of the race. And I totally agree. You know, I wasn't watching the broadcast there, but being in person and seeing that pack run by and seeing the position changes, and then towards the end of the race as they were all fighting for their spots, I think that would have been so good to show. You know, it's hard to, take the main screen away from Jan, for example, but if they could have a small screen or the option to switch to a different camera, I think that would be game changer. I know that's probably something that's on PTO's radar. They did improve the broadcast, I think, a little bit with having that max heart rate percentage, but I think they've still got a long way to go, and that is something that I would love to see. Let me know your thoughts down below. And lastly, onto the video of the week, and this is of Christian Blumenfeld, if you missed it, in the lead up to the US Open, where he was building his bike in his hotel room. We got some behind the scenes access there, which I thought was really cool, but I thought it was remarkable that he didn't have anyone there helping him build his bike, keep him organized, and that also he uses his fingers to measure certain distances on his bike and when he's putting it back together. I thought that was fascinating. I couldn't believe it, and yeah, he's just like the rest of us, and I think some of us might even be a little bit more organized than him. Not saying me, I was a complete disaster putting together my bike in the night after the men's race before my race, and yeah, so I don't even want to talk about that. But anyways, that's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I had such a blast meeting all of you. Please keep reaching out to me on Instagram, follow me there. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on Patreon and buy me a coffee. It would seriously mean the world to help me keep doing this, to get to those events, to report, to give you a lot more content. Sorry I didn't get too many videos up right away afterwards, but that's what I'm working on now. So stay tuned for that, and don't forget to check out the podcast recapping the race and previewing upcoming races tomorrow. We'll see you guys soon in the next video. Have a good one.
All right, Jan, what did you think about today?
Special day. It's really been something, a long time between drinks, and to come here racing the best that were fit and healthy at the moment is always special, and it's always nerve-wracking, and it's always wonderful when it comes together.
Thank you for watching the video. If you're new around here, then don't forget to subscribe. This channel is all about helping triathlon become a huge sport through weekly news videos, highlights, motivational videos, race reporting, and anything else you can think of, with a splash of my own triathlon journey thrown in. The goal is for this to become the YouTube hub for everything professional triathlon, and I would love to do it full time to give back to you and create an amazing community. To help me do that, I need you to get behind me by supporting me for the price of a gel on either Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee. You can also join in on the conversation on Discord and follow me on Instagram. The more support, the more content. And don't forget, it's simple. Try every day. We'll see you in the next one.